Hello, everyone, and welcome to Movie Goodness, where we examine life through cinema here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is a special edition that we have. I guess you could say it's an annual tradition because ever since the inception of this podcast, every year we had set this date aside to celebrate this international holiday. At least it should be a holiday. It should be recognized more than what it is. And it is none other than International Women's Day, which falls on March the 8th, 2025. This is an annual day that celebrates women. And that should be every day. Let's just put it out there. And for everybody that's turning up their noses and you know who you are, if you got a mama, I would imagine that a Women's Day would be important to you. Even if you don't have a wife or daughters or anything like that, you have a mama. You had to have one at some point. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So it is an important day for everyone to celebrate this day. Now, I know it's Mother's Day has their day, but you know what I'm trying to say here, people. Everybody knows a woman that needs to be celebrated on this day, not to mention the cause behind it, the reasoning behind this day. If you want to get technical, the whole month of March is Women's Month, or International Women's Month, I believe it's called. It could go by a different name, but you're supposed to celebrate women the entire month of March. Well, in my case, it's 365. It's 365 days of the year. Not only do I have a mother, I have a wife, and I have two daughters, and sisters, and cousins, and nieces, and all this other good stuff. So I'm surrounded by women. I am completely outnumbered in my house and in my family altogether. So it's a no-brainer for me. I need to get on board or get lost. that's the mantra. And so we're gonna discuss International Women's Day today. We're gonna talk about the 2025 campaign theme of this year, and we're gonna review a film that encapsulates the woman movement, if you will. It is none other than the 2023 just phenomenon that took the world by storm, Barbie. One of my favorite films of that year. We're going to review that film at the end of the show, but let's go over International Women's Day for 2025. And this year, the theme for International Women's Day is Accelerate Action, and this is for gender equality. And this is a fight that women has been fighting since the world started spinning. It feels like always fighting for equality. And this is something, doing taking notes for this show, doing research for this show, you find out some things. And when I find out some things, I like to spread it to all of you. I feel that's my job here on the KB Radio Network. And it's crazy to think this. And I've seen this on two different sites. At this current rate of progress that women are making, the strides that they're making, the leaps forward that they're making right now, which is phenomenal. At the rate that they're going right now, it will take until the year 2158, which is roughly 5 generations from now, to reach gender equality. Now, this is according to data by the World Economic Forum. I looked this up on two different sites. That is wow to me. That is unbelievable to me. And it hurts my heart because, like I said, I have daughters. And I hold out hope that maybe my daughters, as they get older, they're in their 20s now, but when they get older, around my age, that they may sniff equality in their walks of life. But no, it's not going to happen. But it could. Miracles happen every day. But going by the way things are going now, and to be honest with you, by the way things are going now, especially in this country, in the good old U.S. of A. Uh, you can probably add a couple of hundred years to that number because, oh boy, the so-called commander in chief that's in office right now, it's nobody is going to leap forward. But that's another show for another day. And accelerate action is basically focusing on the need. And it emphasizes the importance of taking swift and decisive steps to achieve gender equality. It calls for increased motivation and urgency in addressing the systematic barriers and biases that women face both in their pro- professional lives and in their personal lives. To go along with the theme, one of the best ways to forge gender equality is to understand what works for gender equality and to do it faster. To do more of it faster. Accelerate Action is a worldwide call to acknowledge strategies, resources, and activities that positively impact women's advancement and to support them as well as elevate them. Significant barriers to gender equality remain to this day, yet, with the right action and support, positive progress can be made for women everywhere. And one of the biggest ways to help accelerate action this year is for gender equality is to support the supporters. Uh, with so many impactful groups around the world delivering critical work that assists women and girls, we can all lead our support in solidarity. Um, that's why this year in 2025, International Women's Day sees a big call to action for all International Women's Day events to incorporate an element of women focused fundraisers from grassroots groups to large scale bodies. They are working tirelessly to support and advance women and girls. So let's step forward in solidarity and commit to helping these groups by using the hashtag Accelerate Action for International Women's Day this year and beyond. Continue to use that hashtag to support these women and their groups that are fighting the good fight. Now, you may ask, how can a simple Joe Blow like me and yourself, how can we actually help out? Well, as individuals, we can take steps in our daily lives to positively impact women's advancements. It don't have to be writing a $10,000 check to uh XYZ organization. Now, if you have that to give, good, go ahead, give it to them. But I mean, if for people broke like myself and can't do that, there are other things you can do. We can call out stereotypes, uh, challenge discrimination, question biases, celebrate women's success, and so much more. I mean, additionally, sharing our knowledge and encouragement with others is key. Everybody always like when they talk about help, and that's in any situation. You always, your first thing your mind gravitates to is money, giving money or doing something like that. You don't have to always give money because we don't always have money to give, but you can give support in other ways. Just be the backbone, be a voice. You know, be that person that's there and standing with a certain group, whether it's for women or any minority group. It just be that support. Um, the light at the end of the tunnel, man. Somebody that's there for you, there for them in this fight because it's not easy. Obviously, it's not easy. It's been thousands of years, and women are still fighting this fight. And so, impactful organization and groups around the world deliver an array of effective strategies, resources, and activities that help hashtag accelerate action in many areas, which includes forging women's economy empowerment, recruiting, retaining, and developing diverse talent, supporting women in groups into leadership and decision making, business and STEM, designing and building infrastructure meetings, the needs for women and girls, helping women and girls make uh, informed decision about their health, involving women and girls in agriculture and food security, providing women and girls with access to quality education and training, elevating women and girls' participation and achievement in sports, promoting creative and artistic talent of women and girls as well as addressing further areas supporting the advancement of women and girls. International Women's Day remains an important opportunity to elevate and amplify the focus of gender equality. It is inclusive, not exclusive, which means that this isn't just a fight for the women. As I was saying before, to be that support, and I'm talking to you fellas, to be that support, be that one that's fighting the fight for these women. They can't do it alone. They can't do it alone, just like any other minority group fighting that fight. They can't do it alone either. Everybody needs to come together and help in every single cause that needs to be fought. You know, we can't do it by ourselves. So when it comes to the women, women needs to be protected at all costs. They need to have the support of others, namely significant others and family members and loved ones and whatnot in their fight. You know, they can't feel that they're out there on an island by themselves trying to fight Godzilla. You know, they need us in the background. You know, it's often said that women always have their man's back. I push back on that. Women are the forefront. Women are the leaders, man. You look in every, because I watch a lot of nature stuff, you know, just to pick out lions. You know who goes out and hunt and bring back the food for the lions? It's the female. The female. The female is the one who do all the work. Because the female is one, the smartest, the most ferocious. Let's keep it real. They would tear you up, and I'm talking all species of female, whether it's an animal or a human being. They're the most ferocious. So um they are the natural leaders in my humble opinion. Now, yeah, I'm the man of the house and all this here, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna keep it a buck here. My wife runs it. My wife runs it. Now, I mean, I'm not henpecked, but for the love of God, um, every time I do something, even if I do something on my own accord, in the back of my mind, in the little crevices in my mind, I'm constantly thinking, what will my wife say? Or what will my wife do in this situation? You know, or what is my wife's reaction to me making this purchase or something like that? You know, it's always there. It never stops me from doing what I'm doing, and I end up paying for it later. But it just goes to show you how much of an impact the woman have on the man. A man is always thinking about their woman. They may not show it, they may not even act like it, but you can rest assured it's on their mind constantly. They're on their mind constantly. What is my significant other going to think about this situation? Now, I just went on this little rant, this little ramble rant. It has nothing to do with International Women's Day, but it was on my heart to say. But it's my way of giving respect to the women, to the woman. You know, even when my wife isn't around, my children, my two girls, they take up the mantle. They make sure they make sure that their presence is felt as well. There's no rest for the rearing, at least in my house. I don't know how your house run. But in my house, nah, bro. It's all women all day, and they run it. It's so I can't make a move without one or all three knowing what move I'm gonna make. But I'm there for them. I really fight for them. Especially my girls. I really fight, and that's not to say I don't fight for my wife, but I'm just saying for my girls. Them graduating from school and going off on their careers and whatnot, and making a lives for themselves. I really do fight for them. It goes back to my rant that I had after the election, after the presidential election last year, when Darth Vader was elected into office, and I sat there and I thought about not so much me, not my generation, but my kids. You know, I thought about them and how much it sets them back. No, it wasn't about Harris losing. Care less about Harris. It's the simple fact that this fool won. That's the part that disturbed me, and I knew once he was declared the victor that it was going to be tough for my daughters and any other woman. Technically, for everybody, let's keep it real. Everybody's affected by this moron, but I really thought about the future and how hard my girls were going to have to fight. You know, basically for the majority of their lives unless something changes in the not too distant future. So yeah, it's scary times for everybody, but especially for women and super especially for black women. And so my girls got it double bad. Double the trouble. But I'm still hopeful, and they're just gonna have to continue to fight. I was just hoping they didn't have to fight like I had to fight, like their mom had to fight, like their grandparents had to fight, to keep a roof over their head, food on the table, and whatnot. I was hoping that the fight would be a little easier, but it looks like it's gonna be twice as hard. But as long as I got air in my lungs, I'm gonna continue to fight. That's why I go so hard in the paint when it comes to women. I have a different perspective on the matter. I look at it from their perspective, my girl's perspective. And you would hope, you would wish and pray that a lot of people, especially those with girls, would look at things like that. Look at the fact of uh, uh, how does taking away Roe versus Wade affect my daughter? It's not a matter of abortion. It's not a matter of whether you agree with abortion or not, but it's a matter of my daughters having the right to choose whatever. I may not agree with the choice they make, but that's their choice to make. Me as a man, I know I made choices that my parents didn't agree with. And I know it for a fact because they told me to my face they didn't agree. They didn't agree. And so it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter whether you agree. That's their decision. And from a spiritual standpoint, if you're a religious person or a spiritual person, if you feel that is a sin, well, guess who that's going to affect? That affects them. That's between them and God, not you. It's none of your business. It's truly none of your business. Let the women choose. And once again, I don't agree with it all, but I do agree with their right to choose. But and no government or no other entity should step in and make a choice for my kids. Those are my kids. And if I feel they can choose for themselves or they can make a decision on their own, who are you? Who are you to step in and be parent now? And now, when I needed your help to be parent, government, when I needed your help, when I needed assistance, denied. Oh, you make too much money. Oh no, you can't get assistance there, but I can get parenting help when it comes to something that has nothing to do with them. But in any event, the whole purpose of this show is to celebrate International Women's Day and to show my love and support for the women who are fighting the good fight. And I'm here for you. If nobody else is there for you, I'm here for you. Let's jump into our review. But before we get to our review of Barbie, let's talk about the inventor of Barbie, and that is no other than Ruth Handler, who created the Barbie doll after observing her daughter Barbara, wink wink, and her friends making or having fun with this paper doll and role playing in these adult scenarios. So Ruth, she noticed a market void there. You know, she saw that dolls available at the time were mainly babies and toddlers, you know, the little dolls that you can play house with or whatever the case may be, but it was nothing, you know, available that resembles an adult. And so during a trip in 1956 with her daughter Barbara and her son Kenneth, Ruth came across Biv Libby. I believe I'm saying the name right. It's a German doll. And in an interview with Mary Lloyd, the author of Forever Barbie, Handler said that she saw the doll in Switzerland. However, the book points out that on other occasions, Handler said that she saw the doll in Zurich. The adult figure doll was exactly what Ruth had in mind. She purchased three of them, gave one to her daughter, and took the other two to Mattel. The Liddy doll was based on a popular character of a satirical comic script um, for the newspaper Bibbed in Germany. The Lily doll was first sold in 1955 in Germany, and although initially sold to adults, it became popular with children who enjoyed dressing it in outfits that were available separately. On return to the United States, Handler redesigned the doll with help from local inventor and designer Jack Ryan. No, not from Hunt from Red October, another guy. She named the doll Barbie after her daughter Barbara and said that Barbie was from Wisconsin. Premiering in March 9th, 1959 at the American International Toy Fair in New York City. The first Barbie doll cost $3 and was an instant hit, and in its first year sold 300,000 dolls. The handlers and Mattel later added a boyfriend for Barbie named Ken after the handler's son Kenneth. Eventually, a huge range of Barbie dolls were released, has portrayed over 125 careers, such as a doctor, a lawyer, a astronaut, and so forth. And Barbie became known for her versatility and fashion. The handlers added cars, sports gear, clothes, and doll furniture to their Barbie products. Ruth Handler was president of Mattel from 1945 to 1975. She passed away in 2002. But in the 2023 Barbie film, Handler was portrayed by Rhea Perlman in the film. And so we, with that perfect segue, will travel right into that film. We are going to Barbie Land and review the multi Academy Award nominated film Barbie. I look, I make no bones about it. I make no secrets about it. I absolutely loved Barbie. Me and my family, me and my girls, we all dressed up in pink, including me, to go to the theater, and it was a beautiful movie going experience. You know, because everybody was wearing pink. It was a thing, man. It was a phenomenon. It's weird because I what makes it so weird. We went to go see that morning, like a Saturday morning. We went to go see Barbie, And that evening, me and my wife went to go see Oppenheimer. So we saw both of those movies on the same day because they came out on the same day. And I wanted to see them both for different reasons, obviously, but both of them were excellent. But Barbie sticks out the most, is the one I've seen the most out of the two for a number of reasons. This film was directed by Gira Gerwig, who co-wrote the screenplay with her partner Noah Baumbach, and is based off the fashion doll by Mattel. This is the first live-action Barbie film after numerous animated films and specials. This film stars Margot Robbie as Barbie and Ryan Gosling as Ken. Perfect casting for this movie. Margot Robbie is top 5 most beautiful woman on the world in the world. Top 5. Now my wife is in that too. You see what I did there? But Margot Robbie is top 5. You couldn't have picked a perfect Barbie, and she was perfect. She also produced the film, by the way. But Ryan Gosling, I remember when they announced the casting of Ryan Gosling, I was like, okay, I can see him as Ken, I guess. Stole the movie, man. He basically stole this film. But that's just from an entertainment standpoint. But it was a perfect balance. You know, for a lot of people, and I mean men, I know a lot of men didn't want to go see this movie and probably never did, but I'm pretty sure they did. This movie made over $1 billion. Men had to go see this as well. So don't put on that front like you didn't go see Barbie. But I know it was a lot of pushback. Like, why would I go? I'm a grown man. Why would I go see Barbie? I want to see nothing. It's a girly movie. Well, it is a quote unquote feminist movie, I guess you can say, but it was perfectly balanced, I felt. And that's what makes this movie special. It is perfectly balanced between Barbie and Ken and what they're going through. The plot of the film it's a journey of self-discovery. It's a self-discovery of Barbie and for Ken in this, not only in Barbie land, but in this real world scenario. And I thought it was played out perfectly. Who else is in this cast? You have America Ferrera, Micah Sarah, Kate McKinnon, Issa Rae, Rhea Perlman, as I mentioned before, and Will Ferrell. And that's just the tip of the iceberg because there are numerous cameos and co-stars throughout this film that you were like, man, they really stacked this cast. You had Helen Mirren doing the voiceover. You have John Cena popping up in here. You had Sumu Lu in this movie. It was just so many actors and actresses, and they were all diverse and all beautiful at the same time. It wasn't just one Ken. It wasn't Ryan Gosling portraying all the Kens. They were all different Kens. It wasn't just Margot Robbie portraying all of the Barbies. There are different Barbies because if you go to Toys R Us, if there's a Toys R Us still around, if you go to the toy store and look at the Barbie aisle or the Barbie section, they're different kind of Barbies. They're different colors, different ethnicities, different creeds, all that stuff, and they just showed it in this film. This movie was cool, man. I really admire how they approached this film because this could have been the cheesiest of cheese. And when you look at it, like if you just look at stills of this movie, you're like, man, this is the cheesiest movie you ever gonna watch. But it's not. It all makes sense. It all makes sense. No matter how goofy and silly that the set design may look in Barbie Land, it's Barbie Land. It was supposed to look like that. It's not a real place. But the real world looked like the real world. Gira Gerwig did such a good job with this. I watched Lady Bird that she directed. I thought it was a cute little film, but I didn't think that she was like this type of director, to put this type of film together. But man, did she do a good job with this. I think she also directed Little Women, the remake to that. and that was all right too. Because I never did like the that material. I wasn't a fan of the movie, but it wasn't because of her direction. But I was really, really impressed with the way she orchestrated this kind of goofy, silly, uh, uh, cheesy material and actually made it serious, actually made it poignant, had some real world implications involved, and showcasing what women go through, showcasing what they feel. Not only that, not only that, showcasing what a man goes through with their egos and, dealing with the patriarchy and all this other foolishness. And seeing those two philosophies clash using Barbie dolls. Using these life-size Barbie dolls, so to speak, was genius. It is absolute genius. And if you get your head out your behind for a little while and look past all that and really pay attention to the story and lean into what's being told, you would actually learn something. I'll never forget sitting in the theater and when America Ferrera's monologue, that epic monologue that she had in the middle of the movie, and I was like, man, that really sucks. I'm thinking about what she's saying, and all of a sudden I hear on the other side, I hear a sniff, and I peek over at my wife, and she's crying. And I look over, while there's some light in the theater, I'm looking at other women throughout the in the theater, and they're crying, and I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, they struck a nerve. I mean, I felt it, and it was a very impactful speech that she gave, and I understood it. It wasn't overblown. It wasn't preachy. It wasn't beating you over the head. It was just a woman pouring out her heart, and you couldn't do nothing but just accept it, nod your head, and be like, yeah, yeah. It really stinks, and it wasn't to poo-poo on men. That's what makes it crazy. Yeah, men plays a part in some of their, dismay, but it's just the way that women approach things, and it's the way that they view things, and you understand some of the way that they're thinking. Now, that being said, you're as a man, speaking for all men out here, you're never fully understand what a woman is thinking. At least I can't. So you can get that out your head, but I understood what they were feeling at that moment. And I wouldn't have got that experience sitting at home watching that on the sofa. I got that revelation sitting in the theater and not only watching my wife, but watching all of these other women, even girls, little girls who haven't even experienced life to the fullest yet. They felt it. They were crying, and it was just an emotion. But it wasn't like America Ferrera was sitting there crying, boo-hooing, oh, you don't know what it's like. No, it wasn't that. But she delivered it in a way that was just epic, to the point where she got nominated for Best Supporting Actress. I don't think it was for that movie, but it was for that scene, because that was just perfect delivery of that line. Speaking of perfect delivery, Ryan Gosling as Ken. I harped on it a little while ago, and I know this is International Women's Day, but I got to give credit where credit is due. Ryan Gosling, man. Ryan Gosling as Ken was so good. He was goofy, irrelevant, silly, borderline artistic, but he really, really hit home on a lot of the points from the men. It was like a counter to what the America Ferrera character was saying, but the men saying it, but it made you realize that men are just children. We are children. We are the dumbest species God put on earth. And it's the truth. And that's probably why a lot of men didn't like this movie, because it just put a mirror in front of your face. And I'm man enough to look in it and say, yep, Yep. I know what he's talking about right there. It was a nice performance by him. Margot Robbie as Barbie, also excellent job by her. She really nailed this turn that her character goes through, this transformation that her character goes through. Super super cool, the scene when she's sitting on the bench when she's in the real world and she's sitting next to this older woman, and you could tell this woman, she's been through life. She's been through life, and she turns and look at Barbie, and Barbie's looking at you like, you're beautiful. And she was, and you look at people, and she wasn't saying she's beautiful in the uh outside realm. It was on the inside realm, because the woman smiled, and her smile was such a pretty smile, and it doesn't matter what you went through in life, because it looked like that woman has been through it. She has been through life, but she's still beautiful. And it makes you look at people from the inside. I'm able to look at people differently by watching this stupid, silly Barbie movie. It really touched me in that way. And so I really loved how Margot Robbie handled that. The rest of the cast was fine. Like I said, the direction was good. I thought that it appealed to adults, children, males, females. It didn't matter. This movie really touched everybody's soul, and you could tell because it was one of the most highly successful films of that year. I think it was the top grosser of that year, if I'm not mistaken. If it wasn't, it still made over $1 billion. I do know that much, but it was worth every penny, and it earned every penny. The fantasy comedy Barbie, starring Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling, gets a letter grade of an A. Yes, it is. It's an awesome movie. I watched it recently, and to be honest with you, it helped me make do this show, because it jogged my memory of International Women's Day, and I was like, I know it's in March. I was sitting there during the credits, the end credits. I'm like, it's in March. I'm gonna review Barbie. I got to do another review of Barbie. I enjoyed it. I really did. I enjoyed it all over again, like I was watching it for the first time. But International Women's Day for 2025. The theme this year is accelerate action. Hashtag it. Throw your support. Whatever you can do. If it's monetary, fine. If it's other means you can do it, also fine. Whatever you do, make it count. Email the show if you want to holler at us over here at the KB Radio Network, KB Radio Podcast at gmail.com. You can look up the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube, and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to movie goodness here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me as we took some time to celebrate International Women's Day. To all my ladies out there, I got your back. I love you all, and I support you in what y'all doing. I really am. This isn't pandering. I truly am an ally in this fight, as we all should be. Love you all. Want you all to know that I love you. Continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.